Horrors of the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy continue to amaze. Exclusive reporting by NBC News finds that last July, in the blistering Texas heat, 37 children between the ages of 5 and 12 were taken to a border facility to be reunited with their parents, but they were kept in vans for hours, waiting to be processed. Quote, not until 39 hours later did the last child step out of a van to be reunited. Most spent at least 23 hours inside the vehicle. While that incident happened last year, the horrific conditions are ongoing. More reporting from NBC News details how migrant children currently coming to the border are finding themselves, quote, caught in a bureaucratic purgatory, stuck sleeping on concrete benches, or even outside at Border Patrol stations, while the agency that's supposed to care for them is close to exceeding its capacity. Joining us now, one of the amazing journalists who co-wrote those two extraordinary pieces of reporting, my friend and colleague, Julia Ainsley. Julia, take us through both.
Well, Nicole, it is easy to get numb to this because we've heard so many horrible stories from the border, both from separations and now, especially dealing with vulnerable children. But these stories really take us inside what happened last summer and the fact that the chaos continues. Last summer, we understand that, just as you point out, those 37 children were on their way. It was supposed to be a 30-minute ride from where they were staying at Health and Human Services to an ICE detention center where they could reunite with their parents. Some had been separated for months, and they were under a court order to be reunited. But when these children showed up, the contractors who were responsible for taking them off the van and bringing them inside found that there was no one at the ICE facility to process them, to pair them with their parents. They were clocking out for the day as if it was a normal day, and they didn't have the staff ready. And in addition to those 37 children, there were other vans in the parking lot from other facilities, again with children waiting in the July heat in Texas to be reunited. And then flash forward to today, we have new data that over 1,400 children have been in Border Patrol stations for over 72 hours. That's past the legal limit even for adults. And why that matters
is past
because
the limit for a dog, Julia Ainsley. You cannot, I swear to God, I read this story. You cannot leave a dog in a car without getting a ticket. What is happening? Where are the NGOs? Where are the humanitarian groups? I mean, how is this happening behind closed doors? How do we not have eyes and ears on the treatment of children in the American government's hands?
It's a good question. I mean, what we can do is the media is try to dig into this and get the stats and get the documents and be thankful for the whistleblowers who come and give us this information, Nicole. And what we're finding is that these children are being kept at Border Patrol stations, which essentially are jail cells. They were not built for children. And children who are as young as infants and toddlers have been taken. In one case, there was a 1-year-old boy taken from his grandmother because that's not considered a parent, so therefore he's unaccompanied. He ran 105-degree fever, was kept at a border station for 9 days before he was transferred to Health and Human Services where he could have better care. That was a near death. We know of 3 other actual deaths, children who have died in Border Patrol custody. And the reason for this backlog, is not only the influx, but the increased capacity, the fact that HHS, Health and Human Services, is at 97% capacity now, that they're unable to take in more children. So they're waiting in these conditions. And in some cases, they can't even get inside the border stations to sleep on that concrete bench. They're actually sleeping outside.
What do they say when you call them with this reporting?
It's interesting. There's a lot of finger pointing between agencies. So in this case, you know, of the first case of last summer, the children going to ICE, they say, well, that was one circumstance. We weren't ready, and we you know, kind of removed some things there so that we could be better staffed. And that was one incident. So, okay, one incident, but a tragic incident at that. And then when it comes to today, CBP is saying we need HHS to take these children more rapidly. HHS says, look, we're taking them as we get them, but our hands are tied because Congress hasn't given us more funding. So there's a lot of finger pointing going around, but in the end, those who suffer are very young and they're without that adequate medical care or even a place to sleep at night.
Juanita, I'm just struck by the fact that no one is held harmless in the Trump years.
No, and I think the fact that while Trump and his team were putting together this cruel and inhumane policy, they had no forethought into the negative externalities, the trauma it would inflict on families. And honestly, it shows that he didn't even care that these people would have these experiences while they're fleeing such dire situations in their home countries, and has created a humanitarian crisis at our own borders that is a stain on this nation and his
Can you
presidency.
imagine if your old boss or your old boss knew this problem was going on? It seems like it's removed. It's not. They would be fix this now. I mean,
Or even imagine.
This is why White Houses exist, to fix these kind of problems that are bureaucratic in nature
But he
and have,
created this one.
like 3 different. But they created this. This is like he created this, and as you know, and the good news is, if the coming out this reporting is, we're not numb to it. You know, a year ago this week is when ProPublica put out that audio
the wailing.
of the wailing child that just
what would
even
Bush have said to you, and what would have Obama said to you?
I mean, we would all be on the border trying to deal with this. And
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.